So our today's session is application of SPSS for data analysis. And for this, hugely knowledgeable person, Dr. Chanchana Jain ma'am is here with all of us. But before we head towards the session, let's have a look on tremendous achievement journey on ma'ams. So good evening, ma'am. Dr. Chanchana Jain ma'am is an author, research expert, and academician with an experience of more than 12 years in management and commerce as an assistant professor. Ma'am is a co-founder of Urja Counseling and Training Indore. Presently, she is working as an assistant professor in Prestige Institute of Management and Research Indore. Ma'am is also the coordinator of IQSC at PIMR. And as a research expert and trainer, ma'am has conducted many workshops and FDPs on SPSS module, research paper writing and analysis through our programming. Recently, ma'am has completed one research project related to medical field, which has been presented before the Central Ministry. Ma'am has rich experience of more than 10 years in research, and with this, ma'am has more than 42 research papers publishing in various scopus, national and international journals. Ma'am has also presented research papers in more than 20 conferences and won 5 Best Paper Award at JIMS, Delhi Pacific University, Udaipur, and 3 in Prestige, Indore. 4 research scholars were also pursuing their PhD degree under ma'am's able guidance, and ma'am has also guided more than 500 plus students in their major and minor research projects. Ma'am is an author. She's also written a book on a crucial problem of our society, along with a co-author titled as Atmatya Kyun. So with this, I feel it's really a good honor to invite hugely extreme knowledgeable person, Dr. Chanchana Jain ma'am, on RFI's platform to guide our participants. So take the advantage of this time. So now I would like to welcome ma'am on RFI's platform without any more further delay. Please, ma'am, hold the footpace. We are eagerly waiting to hear you next. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Nikita, ma'am. I hope I'm audible clearly.
Yes, ma'am, you're completely audible.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So before starting the session, I must say or express my gratitude towards RFI team, especially Ajay sir, Saurabh sir, for giving me one more chance to interact with the participants. Thank you so much, Nikita, ma'am, for introducing me with the participants. Now with this, I think we can start the session. So as ma'am said, this is a day 4. Today we are talking about the data analysis thing using SPSS. So it's a kind of 1.5 hour session, 1 hour session. So I'll give you overview about the SPSS, that how SPSS works. And before starting and talking about the SPSS, I will need to say a few things about the data analysis. So we will discuss few concepts before starting and looking at the interface of the SPSS, right? So I'm going to share my screen and then we'll discuss few concepts and then we'll start with the SPSS. So I hope I can start the session. Everyone is listening to me, yes? I hope yes. It will be an right? Will it be an interactive session or not, participants?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just sharing my screen. Give me a second. Okay, so I think I have shared my screen and I hope my Word document will be visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Nikita ma'am, yesterday, which session was conducted? May I know the title? Was it hypothesis?
No, this is problem identification.
That was on problem identification.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, so friends, probably now you are having the idea about how to identify the problem, how to formulate the problem. Now, in that particular series, we will talk about the data analysis. So we need to discuss few of the concepts, right? Like variable is the very first and the very simple concept which I want to discuss with all of you. Okay, so I hope the size is okay and visible to everyone. The font size is fine.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So before whatever I want to say about the variable, may I know from you people what you understand from the term or the word variable in terms of research? Anyone? Okay. Fine. So when I say term variable is nothing but it's like an object or any entity, right? So we can say it's an entity which changes, right? Because in the name itself we can find variable, which varies, is known as variable, or which is keep changing from object to object is known as variable, right? Means it is not constant, it is a varying kind of characteristics of any particular object is known as variable, right? So when we talk about variable in terms of research, when we say research, in research, variable is nothing but it's a characteristics. So when we are talking in the characteristics of a person or of any item or object, we can call it as a variable. Generally, there are varieties or the various kind of variables available when we talk about the data analysis, but we can divide them into the qualitative and quantitative variable. So from name, I think it is quite clear, qualitative and quantitative. So may I know from any one of you, what do you mean by qualitative variable? Yes. Anyone?
I mean, it indicates what type of method we have used to arrive at the value for that variable.
Okay, fine. Okay. Any other opinion?
Qualitative means which is not yet quantified.
Very good. Means which cannot be expressed in number form, right? Or quantity is known as qualitative variable, right? So if you want to quote or want to get some example for qualitative variable, we can call it as
Gender.
gender, right? Marital status, education level, etc. can be the sum of the qualitative variables. Perception, satisfaction, all these are coming under the qualitative variable form, right? Then next one is the quantitative. So when we call quantitative, so it will be opposite of qualitative, which you can express in the form of quantity or in the form of numbers, right? Are known as quantitative variable, right? So if I want to quote some example, I can say suppose weight, age, height, income, salary, etc. These all kind of variables can be treated or can be termed as quantitative variable, which we can express in the form of numbers, right? So this is the one classification of the variable. The other classification can be under the qualitative, we can say the categorical variable. Generally, these are two types, nominal and ordinal. Similarly, in the quantitative category, we can keep the variable as continuous variable, that is interval and ratio variable, right? So I think when I talk about categorical and continuous variable, I'll take these two variables later on. Once I'll talk about the that measurement scales, right? Next classification can be the dependent and independent. So any guesses for dependent variable?
It depends on the other variable, the independent
Right,
variable.
right, right. Very, very correct. So when we say dependent variable means which is not having its own entity, which can be depending upon some other variable, is known as dependent variable, right? Generally, this variable is dependent on the independent variables, is known as dependent variable, right? So which depends on other variable or variables is known as dependent variable. When we talk about independent, which is independent and can accept any value, is known as independent variable, right? So if we want to understand these two, I think we can take one example here. Generally, if I say advertisement expenditure and sales, right? And we know these two are very common variables. We also know, means it is not like we are belonging to the marketing field or not, but we understand this thing. Being a customer, being a consumer, we are knowing these two things. And when we say that, I think many of us are generally watching TV, or maybe we are watching movies, etc., or we are surfing so many apps. So we know this thing, that generally there is a huge role of the advertisement, right? Generally, companies are investing a large amount in the advertisement, just because this can help to boost the sales of the company, right? So that way we can say these are the two variables. So I don't think so I need to say here this thing, which variable is dependent here and which is independent. I think you people can guess by your own. So can anyone of you tell me which is independent and which is dependent here? Yes.
Sales is dependent, maybe.
Sales is dependent variable, very correct. Sales is dependent and advertisement is independent variable. It is quite clear, I think. The way I think I have told you, companies are investing just because this advertisement expenditure maybe help them to create awareness among the customers, and that way it can help them to increase the sales of the company. So that means sales is depending upon how much advertisement is done by the company, right? So how much company is investing in the advertisement may be causing or maybe helping to increase the sales. That way sales can be the dependent and advertisement expenditure can be the independent variable. So I hope this is making sense and you people have understood this.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Now moving ahead and talking about the measurement skills. Anyone is having the idea about measurement scales? Yes, anyone? Any idea? Okay, how many of you are belonging to the management field? Yes. I hope you people are listening to me. Any answers? Yes. Okay, I think Dhruti Trivedi ma'am has raised the hand. Probably she is belonging to the management side. Is it Dhruti ma'am?
I am not from management, ma'am, but you asked the previous question, what are the
Measurement skills?
measurement skills? So maybe it is the way to define or categorize the variables that are
Right. Right. I think it's correct. When we say measurement scales, generally in research, we are dealing with certain kind of variables which we cannot measure directly. These variables are known as latent variable, right? Say for example, I want to, suppose I belong to a marketing site, right? And I want to measure the satisfaction level of my customers. So we know this thing, satisfaction is a variable which cannot be measured by any particular apparatus, or we are not having any unit to express satisfaction, right? So in such case, if such kind of variables we are using in our research or we are measuring in our research, so in that case, we need to take the help of measurement scales. These scales can help you to measure the latent variable. Latent variable meaning is which cannot be directly measured. Is it clear? Any?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Fine. So we can divide measurement scales into the 4 parts, which I have shown you previously, which I have written as a categorical and the continuous variable, that is nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval, and the ratio scale. These are the 4 scales available. When we talk about the nominal scale, this is a very basic scale. This scale help you to categorize your data. Means if suppose I have collected a data, so using the nominal scale, I can only categorize. Apart from that, nothing else I can do using the nominal scale. So for example, if suppose in my, what I can say, if in my data, suppose I have asked about the marital status of the people or of the respondent. So I can say I can only classify my respondents on the basis of their marital status. That means I can say the people are married or maybe unmarried. Get it? So that way, nominal scale can help you only to categorize your data. So we can classify or categorize our respondents on the basis of their marital status. That is, how many of them are married, how many of them are unmarried. This is where you can say you can only do a count kind of thing, right? When I say statistics, so in a statistic, there are so many different things we can identify, we can calculate for a particular variable. But when we talk about the nominal scale variable, for nominal scale variable, you can only do the counting kind of thing, right? So you can count how many of the people are married, how many of the people are unmarried, how many of the people are male, how many of the people are the female, how many of the people are belonging to a particular region, something like that. This is the work of nominal scale. Moving ahead, talking about the next scale, which is the ordinal scale. Ordinal scale can categorize also, and apart from that, this can arrange your data into a particular order, right? So with the help of ordinal scale, you can do the ordering of the categories. So whatever categories you have made, you can arrange those categories into a particular order, right? So here, suppose you are rating a particular app. So you have rated an particular app. So that way you can order the rating of that particular app. That what is the ranking that app has got. So you can arrange that ordering or that rating into the ascending or the descending order. So that way it is known as ordinal scale. So as you will proceed from one scale to the next scale, every scale will be having the features of its previous scale. So as I said, nominal scale, it can categorize. Apart from that, whatever categorization will be performed, you can arrange that categorization into a nominal or in the into the ascending or into the descending order. Next one is the interval scale. Interval scale can categorize also, it can rank order also, and apart from that, it can do the equal, or it can keep the equal difference in the categories, right? So the best example to understand the interval scale is the temperature. So we know this thing that temperature, say for example, there are certain cities, we want to classify the cities on the basis of their temperature. So maybe we can say the cities which are belonging to the temperature in maybe possible 20 to 25, then 26 to 30, 31 to 35, likewise. So that way you can say when you are talking about this particular interval, that means there is categorization of the cities on the basis of their temperature. You can order those cities also on the basis of their temperature, and there is an equal difference in that particular range which you are giving of the temperature. That is known as interval scale. The drawback of the interval scale is that this scale is having this scale is having the, what I can say, it is not having the actual zero. It is not having the true 0 or the actual 0. Means if you will say 0, 0 meaning is that whatever you are measuring, it is not present. 0 means it is not present there. But when we say temperature, so if I say 0 degree, so we know this thing that temperature, one of the qualities of the temperature is still present at 0. That is, we are feeling cold, right? So that is why the problem with the interval scale is that whatever you are measuring, and if you are saying it's 0, we cannot say it is totally not available there. Some thing will be available of that particular thing which you are measuring. That is the problem with the interval scale. So to overcome this scale, we are having the last scale, which is known as the ratio scale, and this scale will be having the absolute or true 0. Means if you will say it is 0, means it will be actually 0. For example, if I'm saying the person with the 0 salary, so we know it is quite possible if a person is not a salaried person, so the salary will be 0. Or if he is not working somewhere, so the salary will be 0. So this is the nature of all these 4 scales. I hope all the 4 scales are clear to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So I think this is the 2 main concepts, that is the variable and the measurement scales, which we need to know before going to the SPSS. Further, I think in the next session, you will understand how to create hypothesis and how you are developing the hypothesis. So now I'm taking you to the SPSS interface. I think I have shared my screen of the SPSS interface. I hope you are able to see my screen of SPSS window.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Fine. Thank you. So now you can see the look of this SPSS is very, very familiar to you people if you have not seen it before, because it is very, very similar to the Excel, right? So that is a great kind of pattern you can find. So SPSS is very similar to the Excel in a look-wise pattern, right? So here you can see when I say this SPSS, at the bottom left side you can find there are 2 toggle buttons available named as data view and the variable view. So when we say data view meaning is that this is the present view which is activated. So you can identify looking at the color of these toggle buttons. The color of the data view is little different from the variable view. That means presently the data view is activated in this particular interface, right? So this is the view which is helping you to store your data, because SPSS is what? It is the statistical package for social sciences, right? So that means it can help you to perform the statistics on your data. So you need to bring your data in the SPSS first. So where that data will be stored, this data will be stored in this particular data view. Next view is when I will click on the variable view, you can see the next view is this is the variable view. That means this particular view is allowing you to create your variable or to define your variable here. So either you can define your variable here, or if you are importing your data from any of the sources like Excel, CSV file, etc. So that way, whatever variable names were created in your those files, the same names will be taken here in this particular name column. And further, other details will also be taken by SPSS according to its own understanding, right? So according to its SPSS, according to its understanding, will take define these particular features of your variable. But I think if this means being a researcher, I think we are knowing much better than the SPSS. So using the editing facility available here, you can make changes in all the features of your variable, right? So we will see firstly how to create variable, and then we'll see how to import data in SPSS. So both ways we will see how we can use this variable view, right? So further, I'll talk about this menu you can find here. In the menu, there are so many different menus, or in this ribbon, you can find the edit menu is available. File menu is available. Edit, view, data, transform, analyze, graph, utilities, extension, window, and help. These are some of the menus which are available. So many of these, what I can say, the menu or the tabs are already clear to us because we are using Excel and all. Some features may be little different here according to the statistics. Maybe these features will be differing from the Excel. So the most of the, not most, all of these statistical tests which we can perform using the SPSS, we can find at the one place only, which is known as the Analyze. So once you will click on this Analyze tab, you would be able to see all the available tools are presented or listed in this particular box. According to our need, we can select these tools and we can perform the analysis, right? Further, if I talk about the versions of SPSS, so latest version is I think it's 29.0 is the latest version of the SPSS. I'm showing you this is a 25.0 version, which is I'm using right now. So according to if I talk about this SPSS availability, so there is, you can type IBM SPSS. Once you will type on any particular browser, it will show you the link or the web page link, and that way you can land on that particular web page and you can download that software from there. Thing is that when I talk about SPSS, SPSS is a costly software. Once you will go on the IBM SPSS website, it will allow you to download the SPSS for the 1 month. That is the trial version of the SPSS, right? So that way you can use it for the 30 days, and that way you can practice on this SPSS. So this is one limitation of the SPSS if I talk about. Now we will talk about how to define variables in the SPSS. So I think you can see presently the variable view is activated on this particular interface, and we will start creating the variables here, and we will see what are the limitations or what are the things which we need to avoid while creating the name of our variables, right? I hope you people are able to cope up whatever I'm saying. I was not or means the pace was okay or not? Is it fine? May I proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. So we will see. I'll create the first variable here. I'll deliberately make certain mistakes so that you can understand what mistakes you need to avoid while creating the name of the variable, right? So here I'm writing $gender. This is what I have typed here. Now I am pressing the tab key of my keyboard. So you can see once I am pressing the tab key, it is showing me an error message which says invalid variable name. So the meaning is that I cannot start the name of my variable with the $sign, right? Similarly, if I'm using the hashtag, now again I'm pressing the tab key, again we are getting the same error, right? So that way you can understand this thing. If I'm writing a number, that is 1 I have written here, I'm pressing the enter, tab key. So again it is showing me the illegal first character. So this is indicating you that this is the limitation. If you want to start the name of the variable, you cannot use the special character like $, ampersand, or any number. But if you want to start the name of variable with the @ it will not give you any errors. You can press enter or you can press the tab key, and that way you will see few of the features or few of the details of the variable is already taken by the SPSS, right? So this way it is allowing you to create your name starting with the @ sign. There is no problem in that, right? Or if suppose I'm removing the @, even that way it will work, right? So means simple name also you can type, there is no problem. But if suppose I want to define the name of my variable using more than one word, so that is again you can find, I have written here the gender of participant, right? Now I am pressing a tab. So again it is throwing an error, illegal character problem is there. That means you cannot give the space in the name of the variable. You need to use either the underscore or the period. Period means the $sign, right? That you need to use, and you can see both the things directly or simultaneously I have used in the one variable name. Now I'm pressing the tab key. You can see no error I am getting, right? So these are the some of the precautions you need to take while creating the name of your variable. I hope these things are clear when I was talking about the name creation. Is it fine? Okay. Okay, I need to say this thing because I have shared my screen, so I cannot see the Google Meet screen. So I am not getting if you are showing any expressions and all. So it will be good if you can interact me or say yes or no something.
It's clear, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Move-
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. So moving ahead, after talking about the name creation, we will move to the next. That is the type of your variable. By default, SPSS takes the name of the variable or variable as a numeric variable because SPSS is a statistical package, right? So the drawback of statistics is what? Statistics cannot deal with the alphabets. So by default, whatever variable name you will create here, SPSS will take it as a numeric variable. But what if your variable is not numeric? So you can come in this particular box, you can just click on that, and you can find 3 dots will be visible to you. You can click on this. So the variable type dialog box will appear. There is a range of the types of the variables like numeric, comma, dot, scientific notation, date, dollar, custom currency, string, restricted, numeric, etc. According to our need, we can set the type of our variable. Mostly used type are the numeric because it is because we want to perform statistics. So generally we need to keep that type as a numeric, right? But if suppose you are having the name of your participant, you are having the address, etc. So in that case, you can also take the type as string, right? So this way, these are the 2 mostly used variable type. If you are having a date, suppose you have asked about the date or birth date, etc. So that way you can define it as date. So these are the things which you need to check when you are creating the variable, right? Or you are bringing the data also in SPSS. In that case also you can check the type. Fine. So I'm pressing OK now. Moving to the next, which is the width. Width meaning is what? How many characters a particular variable can accept, right? So I'll show you first one thing firstly. Once you have created the name of a variable in the variable view, you can just click on the data view and you can find whatever variable you have created, the same you can see here in the data view as the heading of the column, right? So it is showing me that this is the gender column. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now, talking about width. Width meaning is how many characters you can enter in this gender. So you can find it, how many characters I can enter here in this. So the thing is that when I talk about a numeric variable, if your numeric variable is not having any decimal point, that means if your numeric variable is discrete, that means in that case there is no use of this width, right? So in that case, you can make firstly decimal 0, means when your variable is not expressed in the decimal points, right? It's a complete number. So in that case, there is no use of this width. But if your variable is like suppose I am asking about the weight of a person, right? And if the weight is suppose 20 or maybe suppose 60 point, suppose I have expressed the decimal point up to the 6-7 digits, something like that. In that case, this is the limitation. It cannot accept it cannot accept the characters more than 8, means it cannot accept more than 8 characters at a time. If you want to increase its width, you can again come to this and using these up and down arrow keys, you can change the width like this. You can use up and you can use down. So that way it will accept those number of characters. By default, it will accept the 8 character when your variable is numeric and it is in the decimal points, right? And also when your variable is in a character or string form, in that case also there is a very much importance of this width column, right? So decimal, I think we know this thing, which variable is we are expressing the decimal point or not. So accordingly, using these up and down keys, you can set the decimal point. Label is a facility available here in the variable view, which can help you to express the name of variable the way you want, because we have seen there are certain restrictions in creating the name of the variable. So using this label, you can describe properly the variable here. So generally it is suggestive, you need to use this label column, because always I quote this thing in my sessions, that usually if suppose we are collecting the data once, and probably we are using that data 2 or 3 times for writing up 2 or 3 papers. So and I think we know this thing, if we are writing 2-3 papers from the one data set, I think it's very difficult for us to recall everything in our mind, because it will take time to complete one paper, and after that after some time we are using starting the second paper likewise. So that way we generally forget the thing. So it's better to define this label, or use this label option, and define and write every minute detail about your variable, which can help you for the future reference. Next one is the values. Values meaning is it is like a coding. So we know this thing, if we are belonging to the field, like as I am from the management side. So suppose I am collecting the data using the Likert scale or Likert scale, whatever you are saying it is. Suppose I am asking to express your opinion on a 5-point, like strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree kind of thing. So if such kind of data I am collecting, so it is quite obvious it is a kind of a qualitative data. So in that case, if I want to perform any statistics on that data, I cannot do that. So what I need to do, I need to code my data. Code my data meaning is I need to give some number to these particular options. So that way, whatever coding you are defining or giving to your options, that coding you can define here, right? Suppose I'm coming here. As you can find, gender I have kept as a numeric variable, right? So suppose I'm coming here, I have written 1, and I'm writing the label is male. That means if in my gender column, if anyone is looking that it is 1 written, so in the variable view, the person can come and can check what is 1. 1 is what? It is a female. It is a male, right? Similarly, for 2, I am writing here, it's female. I am adding this. And then once I'll click on OK, it will be defined here. So whatever coding you are giving to your categories or to your data points, you can define your codings here again for the future reference. That way it will be easier for you to understand. 1 was for the male, 2 was for the female, or vice versa, whatever you have given. So this is you can use to define your codings. Next one is the missing. Missing meaning is the missing value. So SPSS generally treat 2 types of missing values. One missing value is the system defined. Second missing value is the user defined. So this is the user defined missing value. Suppose I am writing here age, right? So I am having now 2 variables. I am making decimal points 0, right? So suppose I have collected my data, and suppose I have asked directly from the people to write the age. Means I have not given any ranges or the intervals like your age is from 20 to 30 or something like that. I have not asked in that manner. I have only written age, and I have kept a blank space there. People need to write their age, right? So that way I am collecting the age. Now, for once I have decided to analyze this data. So I have scrutinized my data. I have arranged my data into the ascending or descending order. That way I have identified there are people who are from the age group or from the age of 70 or above. Suppose I do not want to include those persons' data in my analysis. So what I need to do, I can rather than deleting such kind of data, because maybe in future you can use such data. So what you can do, you can come in this missing, you can click on this, and that way it is SPSS is giving you a facility to define here whatever missing value you want to define here. That way SPSS will not include those things in the analysis, right? So you can find, once I have clicked on these 3 dots, there are 3 different options available. First one is the no missing values. No missing values means this is the by default option. SPSS is not assuming any missing value by its own. Second is the discrete missing value. So once a file click on this section will be activated. So you can find, now it is allowing you to define 3 different missing values. It is not mandatory to define all 3. If you will define one also, it will work, right? So suppose I have arranged my age data into the any particular order, either in the ascending or descending order. Suppose I have found there is a person whose age is 70, and suppose I do not want to include his or her data. So I have defined 70. I found there is a person or there is a children, there is a child, or maybe there are teenagers who are belonging to the age of 16 years. Again, I do not want to include their data. I can define that. I have also identified there is a maybe a child whose age is 14 years. So that way, this way I have defined the person who is of the age 70, 16 and 14. If SPSS is finding any of the person with these particular ages, SPSS should not include its data for the analysis. This is the meaning of this missing, right? So this was the second option. If suppose I'm clicking on the third, right? Suppose again I have found that there is few persons who are from the 70 up to 72. So the persons who are from 70 to 72 of the age groups, they should not be included in my analysis. And this particular range option is giving you one more facility. Apart from that range, you can define one discrete value also. Suppose I do not want to include the data of 14 years child also. So that way I can define. Again, you can find it is not mandatory to use this discrete value. You are not finding any asterisk here, right? So this way, once you have defined all these, if SPSS will find any of the entries with these particular numbers, SPSS will not include such data in the analysis. This is the meaning of this missing. This is known as the user defined missing value. Means we, being a user, defining in the SPSS, please do not include such data in my analysis. Getting me, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Next two options, that is columns and the alignment. These are, I'll show you, come here. You can find, you can pay attention what I'm doing here. I'm just stretching my age column, right? Now we will see its impact on the variable view columns option. You can find by default column column width is what it was 8. But now when I have stretched it, it is showing me 15, right? It will show you around 15 characters at a time. That is the meaning, right? Now, alignment, if your variables are numeric, by default, SPSS takes the alignment as right. If suppose I am writing here name, right? And I'm defining its type as a string. You can find its alignment will be left, right? But it is not mandatory. Whatever SPSS is saying, you need to follow. If you want to change the alignment, you can use, suppose I want to keep it center, I can make changes in the alignment, right? So this is for the makeover of your data only, these two options. Next one, I'll talk about the last option, which is the measure. This is the important option. Measure means the measurement scales, right? So you can click on the first, you can find there are three options: scale, ordinal, and nominal. If you can recall, we have discussed there are 4 types of measurement scales named as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio, right? So interval and ratio both are combining in the one, that is scale. So according to your variable type, you can select the scale. So we know gender is generally a nominal scale variable. Age can be a scale variable. This is the, again, a nominal scale variable. String because it's a name, right? So friends, this way you can use this particular variable view for defining the name of your variable. And whatever names you will define, you can come in the data view and you can find these will be coming here as a column headings, right? So if you are defining, that means you are entering your data by your own. So that way you can enter your data like this, right? Getting me? Fine, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, thank you. So this way you have seen, this way we have entered the data. But what if you are already having the data in some other source? So you can bring that data in SPSS. So how to bring that data in SPSS? For that, I'll show you the option. You can go to the file option. Then you can click on the open. Once you will click on the open, you can find in the adjacent box, there are various options available. You need to click on the data option. If you're bringing the data from some other source in the SPSS, you can click on this. Once you are clicking on this, open data dialog box is appearing for you. So the first thing is what? Login. Login meaning is you need to set the location from where you want to pick the data, right? Suppose my location is set here, basics of SPSS. I want to, suppose if I want to change, I can use this drop down. I can select the specific location, and that way, in that location, whatever files will be available will be visible to you, provided the extension should be selected right here. By default, it is showing me the SPSS files because the you can see here the extension is .sav. SAV is the extension for the SPSS files, right? So if suppose I want to bring here the Excel file, so I need to click on this drop down. I can select, these are the different extensions available. So I'm selecting here the Excel. So whatever files with the .xlsx extension will be available in this particular, or with these three different extensions will be available in this folder, will be shown to me. So according to your need, you can select that file. If you have selected the file, you can click on the open button. I hope I'm audible and you people are listening to me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, give me
Yes, sir.
it is taking time. Yes, it is taking time in opening the file. Yeah, I hope it is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You would be able to see this way your data is came here in the SPSS. Now you can go to the variable view and check, because if you have brought your data from other source in the SPSS, you can see the names are already there. So whatever names was there in the Excel file are taken here in the SPSS file also. So you can go in the variable view and you can, there is some problem. I think there is some problem. It has hanged or something. So I need to wait. Yeah. So once you are bringing the data in SPSS, it will show you the dialog box like this. This is indicating you worksheet. You need to select the appropriate worksheet. I think we all know in the Excel there can be multiple worksheets available. So using this drop down, you can select your file. You can see the preview of your data. Once you will click on the OK, you would be able to see your data file. I think the same data file which you have shown, which you have seen is here, right? Now you can click on the variable view. So you can find these are the three variables available there in that file. All the three variables name was taken here by the SPSS. Remaining things you can find are there. If you want to make any changes in the any of the feature of your variable name, you can make changes. If everything is fine, you can come to the data view back. So this way, this is the way of importing the data from other source to the SPSS. I hope it is clear to everyone. Is it fine, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Fine.
So yes. So now I'll show you one thing only, because we need to see, because it's a 1 hour session and I think I cannot perform every statistics here. So we will see only one thing, how SPSS is giving you the outputs and all, right? So what you need to do, you can click on the Analyze tab. I'm going in the descriptive statistics. I'm performing a very simple kind of statistics in SPSS, right? So I'll select the second option, which is descriptives. I want to get a descriptive statistics for my variable. So I'm clicking on this. So you can see descriptives dialog box is appearing. All the variables available in my file will be listed at the left hand side. I need to select the appropriate variable here. So I want to get a descriptive statistics for my income variable. I selected that and I'm shifting it to the variables box. Now I'm clicking on the options button. And once you will click on the options, you can find few of the few of the checkboxes are already selected. That is mean, standard deviation, minimum, maximum, etc. Right? Apart from that, if suppose I also want to get variance, I select this. I want to get the kurtosis. I want to get the skewness. So this is what I want to get. So I selected this. I'll click on the continue button. After clicking on the continue button, what you need to do, you need to press on the OK button. And once you will press on the OK button, you would be able to see you are landed on one more interface, which is known as the output viewer. This is the output viewer, which will show you whatever statistics you have performed in SPSS. This will contain the output of that. So this is that. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now we will see. Yeah. So now see the link of this. So that way you can see, as I think you all know, we have selected the income variable there, right? So this is indicating me the income variable, and there were total 30 observations in that income variable. So the minimum income was 16,950. Maximum income was 1,35,000. Maximum income was 1,35,000. The mean income was 38,274. Standard deviation of income was 24,701, and variance is something in 61 lakh something. Skewness is 2.837 and kurtosis is 8.857. So friend, descriptive statistics is what which is helping you to summarize your variable or summarize your data. So as income, if you will see the data, I'll show you first just a minute. So as you can see, when we talk about this income, there were total 30 people's income was listed here, right? So that way to comment on this is very difficult. So what we have done, we have performed here the descriptive statistics. This is giving us an idea about the income variable, which is indicating us the minimum income is this, maximum is this, the mean income is this, and likewise. And the important thing is, if you want to comment anything regarding the distribution of the income, you can see the skewness and the kurtosis. So I think skewness and kurtosis, I don't know how many of you are comfortable with statistics. So these are little statistical point. Skewness generally indicating the symmetry in your data, symmetry to the mean. With it means whatever is the mean value, from mean your data is symmetrical or not. So 50% data should come at the left hand side and right hand side of your mean. That way you can say there is a perfect symmetry in the data. If not, that means your data is skewed data. Kurtosis is generally indicating the normal distribution of your data. So how many outliers are there, and whether there are so many outliers and all, that kind of study we can do using the kurtosis. So this way you can perform the descriptive statistics using the SPSS, and this will give you the idea about your variable. So this is the one thing which you can perform. Apart from that, if suppose I want to do certain visualization kind of thing of my data, you can click on the graphs, you can click on the chart builder, right? And if suppose you can find at the bottom, it is indicating you various kind of graphs are available. If suppose I selected here the pie, so there is only one option available. I double click on this, and suppose I want to see the distribution of the male and female in my data. So I have selected the gender and dropped on the slice pie. And once I'll click on OK, it will show me the pie chart. Is it clear?
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
clear?
Ma'am, please
Yes, ma'am.
repeat.
From this chart,
Please repeat. Yes.
okay.
Yes,
Click
ma'am.
on the graph option, the graph menu.
Ma'am, chart option.
Sorry.
Ma'am, chart option.
Yes, I'm telling the same. Go to the graphs, select the chart builder. Just a minute. I'm resetting it. Done. I'm selecting from the bottom window. You can find there are various varieties of graphs or charts available. I selected the pie or polar. So there is only one option available. I need to double click on this, or I can drag and drop it in the preview window. Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am.
After that, what you need to do, you need to select your appropriate variable for this, for which you want to show the distribution. I want to show the distribution of male and female. So I selected the gender and dropped it on this slice bar like this. And then you need to click on the OK button. Is it fine?
Yes, ma'am.
So once you'll click on OK, you would be able to see this is indicating you the pi. But the problem with this, you can find it is 1 and 2. So we are not knowing what is 1 and 2. Just a minute. I will check whether it is given there in the data or not. No. So you need to see if it is not given. So you can come here. You can define what was your 1, what was your 2. Suppose 1 was male and suppose 2 was female. Done. Click on the OK. And again, you need to perform or draw the pi. Now you can find the blue portion is showing the male distribution and the red one is showing you the female. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Apart from that, yes. Apart from that, if you want to perform other statistics, so I'll just show you, you go to the analyze. Suppose I want to perform the t-test. So you can see T, one sample, independent samples, paired samples, t-test is available. Apart from that, one-way ANOVA is also available. So these are the very simple kind of statistics which are available here. If you want to perform correlation, you can go to the correlate. For regression, you can go to the regression. If you want to perform the what I can say, the factor analysis, you can go to the dimensional reduction. If you want to check the reliability, you can go to the reliability. If you want to perform certain non-parametric tests, you can go here in the non-parametric test category. If you want to do certain marketing kind of thing, you can go to the forecasting, and likewise. These multiple responses will allow you to perform because I think many a time it happens. Generally, we are asking the person to select more than one option. So how to analyze those multiple options? You can come in the multiple response kind of thing. For handling the missing value, you can go to the missing value. For performing other marketing tests, you can go to the direct marketing, etc. Similarly, classify will allow you to perform the cluster analysis, etc. So these are the varieties available in the SPSS, which you can easily do by exploring it, right? So I think this is the basic session which can help you to understand how SPSS works, right? What extra you can do with the SPSS, that way you need to explore a little more. But I think you need to have firstly this SPSS with you if you want to explore it, right? So I think this is all from my side for this session. I am now welcoming the questions if you are having any. Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. I just want to know what can you suggest me tools for qualitative analysis?
Qualitative analysis, ma'am, what you want to do with
SPSS, specifically in SPSS?
SPSS, I think cannot help you for the qualitative analysis, ma'am. You can use the programming languages like R, Python, or you can use the WASP. Means I firstly want to know what you want to do with that. Means what you want to perform. What is your objectives?
Observation based thematic analysis. I just want to do.
Sorry.
इंटरव्यू लिया है मैंने ऑब्जर्वेशन बेस thematic
Okay.
analysis.
So, ma'am, you can create word cloud also. One thing that you can do, or for that, NVivo software is available that can help you to analyze that.
NVivo, yeah.
Generally, NVivo is for the qualitative data analysis.
मैम जो वर्ल्ड क्लाउड्स आप बोल रहे हो, वर्ल्ड क्लाउड्स तो जनरली रिप्रेजेंट ग्राफिकली रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए है ना, जैसे कि
Obviously, it will show you
वेरिएबल्स को कीवर्ड्स को रिप्रेजेंट करने के लिए.
Yes. That one thing you can do, if suppose you are getting some common things, it will show you, or it will show the person that what was the repetition kind of things there in your interviews, in the answers of the people.
Okay.
Or you can use NVivo.
ठीक है मैम. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Yes. Anything else?
Ma'am, having one question.
Yes.
What tools should we use for the systematic literature review study?
For systematic literature review, ma'am, you can use bibliometric analysis also you can do. Vosware you can use, Atlas you can use. There are so many softwares which are available nowadays.
Acha, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything else? Yes, anything else? No questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
It
Thank
was
you,
really
ma'am,
fruitful
for making
session, practical session.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for make this today's session more and more informative and interesting for all the participants with your all the positive efforts. So thank you so much, ma'am, and thanks to all the participants for being very cooperative during the session. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Nikita, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Hope to meet you all in the next session. Thank you.
Hey, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So may I leave the session, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Yogesh sir.